We've cooled off here a little bit this morning, so Dawn has got the garage doors open so it can air out, cool off, not be so sticky inside the garage. Goodness, Ruby. It just sounds loud. Air running. Good morning, Ruby. Yeah, it's hot inside the car. Ruby says it's only 73 out there. It's going to be cloudy today and cooler and less humid. So another chance for rain tomorrow and then a really nice few days through the weekend. So we could certainly stand now to dry out a little bit for a few days. You know how it is. Too much rain or not enough rain, never just the right amount of rain. Johnny and I are headed on our way to meet Michelle. I'm choosing to allow myself to enjoy being out with my best friend and not dwelling on things. It'll, I think, be good for me and Johnny to be away from the house for a little bit where all the reminders are and just kind of, you know, enjoy shopping and having lunch, which I know we will. So I am glad we have a chance to be out. Michelle offered to do something with us tomorrow to help yesterday, and I told her I thought sticking with our Tuesday plan was a good one. Hey girl, we're here. I know you want to hear. Thank you, sweetie. It's the last few hours to catch a shiny little leap during the event, so I'm going to be checking. This is a young adult book, and some of the adventures are based on the inventions of Nikola Tesla. So you know I got to get this one. I'm looking for Tesla's Attic, though. Book 1. This is Edison's Alley. Oh, it's time to set up some patriotic stuff.
I know.
I looked through all the guy shirts and didn't find anything. Did you have better luck?
Yeah, for Ariel to knock around the house in.
Okay.
Yeah, just little things like that.
Cool. Well, I'm glad you... Oh, I love that one. I love it.
Have a hoot. Go blue.
Their little patriotic section looks nice. Thanks, bud. I wanted to take just a minute to talk about supercharging in North Carolina. You know, folks do ask me, well, where do you plug in? And I say at home, we charge at home. But if we were on a trip, I say there's no way that you couldn't get from A to B without a supercharger. And that's pretty true, although it's a little thin here along the Outer Banks section. So I'm happy to report that besides having all of these great chargers, Greensboro, Burlington, Fayetteville, Lumberton, Raleigh, Rocky Mount, Wallace, the one here in Warsaw not on the map, Wilmington, Plymouth, and also over here in Hickory and over here in Asheville, that we have 3, count them, 3 new superchargers coming to North Carolina, according to Supercharged info. One in Mount Airy, North Carolina, one in Kill Devil Hills, which is up there by the Wright Brothers Memorial, and one in Smithfield. So I know here pretty soon Smithfield is like over here on the map. It's where the Croc outlet is. That I'll definitely take a ride this summer to check that one out. But it's pretty exciting time. Okay, so Kill Devil Hills is apparently online, and I just didn't know that it had actually come online. So, but that's great. And I think the consensus is that if we could get one in the New Bern area or the Greenville area, which is like right over in here, that somewhere in that area that the state would be pretty well covered. But I do hear folks still mentioning New Bern and Greenville would be convenient. So exciting times, and the network is still growing. So Linda at Little Angel this morning, she recommended Bellini's Italian restaurant lunch buffet, which is sort of halfway between Guardian Angel Apex and Whole Foods. So it's close, it's convenient for us. So we are gonna go in and try that. Well, Linda said they were working on putting a new front on the shopping center, and that is definitely true. Well, it's gonna look really nice when they get it done. It's got an upstairs here too. It's been years, like I said, since Ruby Tuesday used to be over here, since I've been to McGregor Village for anything. All right, here's the advertisement for the buffet. We have 50 minutes. That should be plenty.
I thought you were going to stop again. I was going to snack you.
Yeah, she's hungry, guys. She's hungry today. Thank you, Michelle. So this is a sampling of what they had on the buffet. It's definitely not everything they had on the buffet. Several types of ravioli, eggplant parmesan, lasagna, calzone, a buffalo wing. You get the gist. So, do we recommend it, Michelle?
Highly. But you're going to have to roll me out of here.
Yeah, you need to make sure your next stop is the couch. Yay, my goodness, the sun is out. Except that we all feel like taking a nap right now because we ate too much. I think that's a common theme with us on Tuesdays. Johnny says they better have some more cars or tractors in here today. He didn't get his full fix at Little Angel this morning. We were Pokemoning and he's like, Mom, let's go, let's go, let's go. Who likes to thrift more? I do. See, Michelle, I found the sign confirming what I knew all along.
My secret's out.
Either this was a store display or somebody tried to build a gadget thing for a kid. Well, Ruby's account caught a shiny Ammonite while walking around Guardian Angel Apex, so I still don't have an event shiny, but at least I did catch a shiny Johnny today. Pointed this out to me. Hey, Donnie, does this ring any bells? There's an older typewriter, too. This is a cool, I call it a chair, but I see that it is a valet. It has room for your suit jacket and tie, and it's really not got a back on it for sitting. If he doesn't stop crinkling back there, I'm gonna smack him.
I'm sweating.
So Johnny did find some cars in there, so he was pleased, but it seems the circle of life continues. The lady in there that was behind one of the cashier ladies drove the Guardian Angel van sometime yesterday and thought she heard a cat and wasn't sure, and thought she heard a cat and wasn't sure. And the short story is that there was a beautiful little orange fluff ball up underneath the engine compartment, and she's totally fine, and she probably has a new home with the lady.
I'm gonna leave my van there tonight.
Michelle's thinking where there's one kitten, there's more than one kitten. It's really nice out here. Don says he's back from his run. It's a little after 4. We're having a good time. We talked about Kitty a little bit in the car. Mostly, you know, just sharing memories we all have of good times. What'd you find, buddy?
Something called a kindness rock.
Let's see it. Let's see the other side. Oh, wow. It's got a car on it?
Mm-hmm.
Where did you find it?
Here.
Where? Show me. Was it like that? Or had the picture up?
A picture up.
Wow. So what does it say? Read me what it says.
You found it. You found a kindness rock. Find us on Facebook. Feeling Groovy Rocks. Post a picture of your find. Keep or rehide. So do you want to keep it or rehide it?
Well, you're the one that found it. What do you think?
Keep it.
For sure for a little while. You can always decide to rehide later, but definitely for today. Well, we closed down Guardian Angel again.
It was a good day.
Bye. We're planning on seeing her tomorrow. We think we're gonna go down to Smithfield Outlets.
Sounds like fun.
Johnny busted the strap on his Crocs, and usually they can put in a new rivet. So, yeah. See you later. Bye. Thanks. Mr. Don's in a good mood because he's done with his run.
Right, I am done with my run.
And it's not too humid.
Oh no, it's
yeah,
really
it's pretty
good.
nice.
It's
out
beautiful.
here. Yeah.
This way. That's right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay.
Glad you're home, sweetie.
I missed you.
I missed you.
I messaged you and told you so.
I know, I did that, and I appreciate all those cute little messages.
I bought this Licheers, Licheers aluminum cell phone stand, maybe for the dashboard of the car, and I like it. Now with my phone with the hot pocket, listen to me, the pop socket, I got to put it in there kind of careful, but Don had set his phone in there and it was no problem whatsoever. I like it. It's going to probably stay in the car, although I don't know. I might have a need for it on my little stand next to the couch. Sat outside for a few hours after I came home, and some bird had the audacity, maybe it was one of the hawks, I don't think so. I sprayed some detailer on the spot, let it sink in, wiped, sprayed again, let it sit, wiped. Third time was the charm. Taken care of. Dawn won't have to find that on the car in the morning. She's not perfectly clean. She's been out in the rain, but she's not, you know, doesn't need that on the hood either. I wanted to take just a minute to mention that North Carolina has a couple of proposed bills that have come out here in the last week to our attention that would give the North Carolina Automobile Dealers Association some increased oversight powers on other dealers in the state. And North Carolina is one of the states where Tesla does have the ability to sell cars, but not in as many locations as they would like, and not as easy as they would like. And this bill is obviously, actually there are 3 bills. One's a House bill, 2 are Senate bills, are obviously aimed at impeding Tesla's ability to do business even further. Really sad state of affairs, if you ask me, that a lawmaker would even suggest such a thing. You know, the big dealerships in the state, they are losing sales to Tesla and they don't like it. And these bills are aimed at protecting, these are my words, the good old boys dealer club. And I don't like that. I think Dawn has said it before. We think folks should have ability to buy the car they want, the way they want to buy it, from whom they want to buy. And you know, with Tesla is obviously a seriously car manufacturer, and should have the ability to sell their cars wherever they want to in the United States without being impeded. So I'm not going to go into any further details, but I wanted you to know that you know, they've had problems with having dealer licenses and selling cars in certain states in the past. Even in the states where they have a license, which they do in North Carolina, have a license. You know, then we still have things like this happen where, you know, folks are trying to protect the old school way of doing things. So I'll put the link, the local Triangle Tesla Owners Organization, which Don and I are part of, and so are all the other NC people that have Teslas that we see at these meetups are part of, has published a little summary of what these bills are and the links that you can send an email to your representative to state that you are, or hopefully are not, for this legislation. And you know, it took me about 15 minutes total when I came home tonight to put a post on Facebook to my personal friends who are probably not Tesla owners and have no idea that this is going on, and then use that text to send both my representative and senator for NC. So, you know, I think it was worth my 15 minutes of time, and particularly if you're in North Carolina, I think it's worth you taking a few minutes to let your representatives know how you feel about these bills. So just take a few minutes to research it if you haven't already. The link will be in the video description. I'm gonna go in the house and ask Don if he has anything he'd like to say about Tesla's earnings call that he listened to today. I kind of came in when they were finishing up and moving on to the Q&A part. That's about what time I came in from being out with Michelle. So I did not get to personally watch it, but I did overhear Don saying that someone asked him how Gigafactory 3 in China was coming along, and he, I guess, joked that you all should all know how it's coming along because there's so much drone traffic over the Gigafactory that I'm thinking about putting in air traffic control. That's not a direct quote, but you know, that's close to what he said. And Don was quite amused because he watches a gentleman in China who puts up a video about once a week of drone footage of the Gigafactory. And I guess it was sort of maybe lost on us that multiple people were doing this, but it makes sense. And I'm glad that they haven't shut them down because it's really interesting to watch. And Elon didn't seem perturbed, just thought it was sort of funny because whatever you would need to know about the Gigafactory, you can find out from the drone footage. So always good to see Elon having a sense of humor. You know, thankfully, at least there aren't any cat footprints on the car today. Just the bird. So
yeah, so I watched the shareholder or stockholders call today, and you know, it was good. Elon rehashed his stuff he's talked about before. That a couple of really interesting charts. I'm sure other people can do a way better job. Is that he showed a chart that using range that nobody has produced in electric cars so far that has equaled the range of the Model S that Tesla came out with in 2012. So here 7 years later, and nobody has yet been able to produce a car with that meets or exceeds the range of the Model S from 2012. He also showed another chart, which I thought was very interesting, that showed the efficiency of electric cars, showing that the Model 3 is heads and shoulders above in efficiency of all the new cars that are in the Model S and the Model X also are all above all the new electric cars, and he restrained himself not to say anything about competitors. I thought that was probably about the highlight, really.
well, apparently Bjorn has been out this week testing the Model 3 versus the Audi e-tron. Yeah, you know, you can go read up or watch that video, right, or whatever.
Well, he did test the charge speed, and I watched that, and there may have been like 3 seconds difference in this charging speed. I mean, it was like undetectable charging an e-tron to I guess full, and a Model 3 to 90%.
No, I read the little summary on it, and they were about even at 80.
Right,
but right, whereas really important because that, you know, the charging rate is really going to fall out for the Tesla after that. And even though I guess the Audi charged slightly faster, the Model 3 had close to 100 miles more range.
Right, exactly.
So there was, really, yeah, it just depends on how you want to do the math.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Anyway, the point is it takes about the same, I mean, if you're going to fill up your Model 3 or fill up your Audi, you're both going to be at a charger about the same length of time. There's not a significant difference. Okay, but that had neither here nor there. But so Elon talked about how they came up with the need for the Gigafactory. He invited JB and Ray up on stage, and so this should quell some of the rumors. JB seemed to be totally at home. He didn't seem like he was coming in from the cold or was a stepchild or anything. JB came up there, and him and Elon did their normal rapport, talking about how important price per kilowatt and total battery productions is to electric vehicles. Those are the two critical things. If you're going to build an electric car, you have got to get the cost of the batteries be competitive, and you have got to get the energy capacity, you know, the range. Those are really important for, and I appreciated that. But the other two things that I kind of had left over from the call with Ride the Lightning, Ryan McCafferty, a couple weeks ago, he actually touched on. He talked about the solar roof and said that they're at version 3.0 and that they are installing roofs in 10 states, I believe he said, and they are really having challenges or had challenges with making sure they lasted 30 years and they can be installed, and it was really hard to do. But he did sound very optimistic that they had done it. So hence they're installing solar roofs. And then the other thing was, he said basically about what he talked about with Ryan McCafferty, or he had said he didn't talk about it with Ryan. I wanted Ryan to ask more questions, but Elon said that later on they were going to have a call, an investor type event for the battery technology with Maxwell, and he reiterated that again today.
There's a little closed mouth today alluding that in the future the details would be coming.
But he also threw like drivetrain technology and battery, so it was like a double header. This thing that's coming up as early as this summer and as late as the end of this year. This investor with where he's going to talk about Maxwell and batteries is also going to talk about drivetrain. So I guess you know, I'm obviously very anxious for that. And he did answer questions. You know, one of them was a question about, well, you said it was going to be 3 weeks, 9 months ago. Where's self-driving or something or another? And he said, obviously, this person that didn't get the message on his Elon time. You know, he had a little joke there. I thought that was cute. And he answered several questions. But I would say Elon was in a good mood. He did not seem to be stressed. So if people were thinking because of the stock price, he was going to be down in the mouth or something, he wasn't. He was at least his normal. You know, we know we've got the best solution. We know we've got the right technology. We know the future is electric. We know the future is autonomous. And, you know, if you don't have that, you'll be like riding a horse talking on a flip phone. That's basically, if you do not have an electric vehicle technology and you don't have self-driving technology, you will be the equivalent in the future of somebody riding a horse with a flip phone. I think you know, that's an accurate statement. The future's electric. You know, we can debate the timeline, but autonomous is going to happen. Again, we can debate the timeline.
Right. Well, to me, honestly, it's really not important when for full self-driving. It wasn't back in the beginning when we bought Ruby. It wasn't when we signed up for full self-driving. It's not today. No. I mean, I guess if somebody else came out with the absolute best autonomous car ever and Tesla still hadn't released their technology, I might be bummed. But short of that, I'm good. You know, this is a really big new field here, and it's, you know, it's got to be done right. So it takes the time it takes, folks.
Yeah, and he reiterated that, you know, others are doing self-driving, and they, you know, they're using GPS that's expensive. They're using the high precision maps that are expensive and quickly out of date. His point being that they're doing a very specific little neighborhood or contained area, and that's all they can do, and that's all they're going to do. So if you want to have a self-driving car that can pretty much take you from your garage to, I mean, from your driveway to your parking space at work, there's only one company that's going to offer you that, and it's going to be Tesla for a long time. So I was very, you know, he's optimistic. I'm right along with him there. The PETA
yeah.
Elon.
Yeah, Elon, the answer to that question is, sweetie, I'm sorry, we're really committed to removing the leather steering wheel from the cars for all the reasons you stated, and we're having some technical difficulties doing that, and we will release a vegan steering wheel to the cars as soon as it will heat and work as well as the current leather steering wheel, period. That's all you had. We're committed, period. We want to do it. It's just not done yet. I mean, you know, yeah. He said, yeah. I mean, he handled it fine, but she really put him on the spot. And,
but
you know.
He did give her he did get half and half.
He said, Model Y, yes, don't worry about it.
That's
so
right.
I hope you got that in the bag, Elon.
That's right. Yeah. But he did not promise that the other cars by next stockholders.
Right. She tried to pin him down to some sooner date. And he said the whole issue was having vegan steering wheel work when heated. And holding up to hand oils and the constant wear and tear. I mean, it makes sense in that particular application. Right. And I think he could, and look, listen, I'm all for the vegan stuff. I am. But he could have come back and said to her, but when you think about the amount we've already removed from the car, let's focus on that and not the small amount we still use on the steering wheel. Although, you know, I mean, there were a couple of ways to answer her post. So Elon, here's another tip. They're going to ask the next time you speak to, be ready for it.
But I would say that he definitely is going to get an update on the exact status of that.
Right. Yeah, well, he said earlier this week he had an update on it, and they were explaining why it was harder than it looks.
I think he's going to go back and say, well, we're going to solve it now. I'm going to...
Right. It may have come to his direct focal attention now, and I suspect that that's what it takes to get some of these things solved. You know, we all got to go to the urgent, you know, whatever is,
I agree. Anyway, I'm sure I've left out 10 different things that were really important, but I guess there were a couple questions and comments about the FUD, and Elon was totally sympathetic with people, and he doesn't know what tool would be the right tool, because he's been dealing with. We only been dealing with it maybe 2 or 3 years. Elon said basically he's been dealing with FUD since day one.
Right.
But it doesn't make it any easier. And I guess the best way really to deal with FUD is what he knows, and that's to make a lot of cars, electric cars, that are the best cars, not because they're electric. They're just the best cars. They're safe cars, and you can make money doing it. And I think at that point, the FUDsters will all just go away.
Right. Well, he said, what do you want? He was nicer than this, but he said, well, what do you want me to do about the car fire stories? Our cars don't catch on fire. Yeah. I mean, basically, the percent. Yeah. Well, it was like, well, what do you want me to say? I mean, it's like, we can say till the cows come home that our cars are less likely to catch fire than a internal combustion engine car, gasoline powered car, and they're still going to write the FUD. So it's like we've been trying to fix that, but you know, we could. Somebody said, like, write up speaking points to these things, and he's like, but there's not a lot to speak to it. You know, they just don't catch on fire as much, folks. By like a long shot, they don't, and then they're still being the only reports of car fires are Tesla ones. So. Yeah, and he did reiterate, I heard him say that he wanted owners and investors to continue to evangelize the product, which is why tonight I already talked about this out in the garage, but I already wrote to our friends on Facebook who are not Tesla people, on mine and Don's page, and then, into the video. And of course, we are of doing a video a day which addresses something Tesla each day, or tries to show that, if nothing else, it shows the joy of driving the car. And and
he said that the Model 3 total life over its life will be the same or maybe better.
They always play when we film in the house. It's just what they do. We film, and it's like, oh boy, it's time to play. Yeah. So they're running around. They've woke up now. They had their nap when we had our nap, and they're just going. Sorry, Donnie, but there's so much noise in the background.
Elon said that the Model 3 cost will be better than a Toyota Corolla. And the thing is that, what would you rather drive for 5 or 6 years? Would you like to drive a Toyota Corolla, or would you like to drive a Tesla Model 3? I mean,
no comparison, folks. I'm just going to tell you.
So, but when it's all said and done, the Model 3 is going to be cheaper. And he did say that the insurance is coming. They're waiting to do an acquisition. They got to write some software, and apparently, so they've got their eye on some insurance company or something in this area. So I think the insurance is going to come, and we will certainly look at it when it comes out.
Right, although I don't think right now our policy is problematic for us over what we've have insured When you
Right.
look at the cost of the vehicle and the cost to insure it, we're not one of the peoples in one of the areas where we've got a problem.
Right.
But there certainly are some stories we've read where that's not the case. I mean, I worry more about parts if we needed a repair than I worry about the cost of the insurance. So
Anyway, Marianne told me to keep it short, so I kept it to 10 minutes.
14 minutes and 15 seconds.
Oh, well, time flies.
I did talk too.